I want you to know that we all look, well, Brian doesn't. Rod and I look like, as Brian said, that we got fucked in the back of a Volkswagen. Since we both look like that at the
There
same
can be only
time.
one thing that happened.
We got fucked in Volkswagens at the same time, 3 million miles away. And we are the Murder Moose podcast, part of the Slash and Cast podcast network.
It's in the game.
It's
And,
in the back of the Volkswagen.
Yeah, it's in the Volkswagen tailpipe. And I'm Neil,
And I'm Rod.
and that's Brian.
I'm Brian.
Yep.
Hi, Brian.
I definitely took a nap and then like woke up to like them saying they were ready to record podcast, and I'm just like, it's that like post nap haze where I'm just like, what planet am I on? Who what?
You did look like you were struggling when you first popped in.
Dude, I still feel like I'm struggling.
Bake and stuff a whole ass chicken tonight, so
you're gonna fuck a chicken tonight? I mean, whatever floats your in the back of a Volkswagen. Ken, you know what? You know where Brian is referencing when he says we got fucked in the back of a Volkswagen?
Mallrats.
Oh God. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Mallrats. 100%.
Because the line is, it looks like she got fucked somewhere uncomfortable. What, in the back of a Volkswagen? and yeah. So I don't know, Ken, do you drive a Volkswagen now? I don't know what kind of car you drive, but that you got.
No, I got a 2009 Chevy Malibu.
Yep, I remember you saying that last episode.
Yeah.
I was paying attention.
LT or whatever, and it's like really nice. The only thing is I had to replace the tires and get an alignment, and that was like $1,000.
Tires are expensive.
Tires are expensive, and they were winter tires. But honestly, that's not bad for tires and rimming them and putting them on and all that jazz. It was just
Is that Canadian dollars?
Yeah. So I mean, it's like
$8.
$900, like it's $850. And then I've got to get a new windshield, but
I know a guy that can do that. Not in Canada, but in Missouri.
Well, Kat's dad can do it, so we just have to find the windshield, and then he can do it because he used to be in car repair. So but it's really nice. It has heated seats. It's got great cruise control. Inside is nice.
Yeah, you said I want to say I remember you saying like an older lady owned it.
Yeah, an old guy owned it in town, and he would drive it from his house to where he worked, and it's like maybe a mile, and then he'd drive it back, and he did that for years and years, and it only had like 120,000 miles on it or something, if not less. I don't remember. I know in kilometers, but fuck that shit. So I mean, like, we got a really good deal. It runs great, and they were trying to give it to us, and I was not comfortable with that because I'm always like, okay, well, if you give it to me, you might want it back one day. Like, no. So, but yeah, I love it. Nice. It's great. And it gets incredible gas mileage. Like, we're going to drive to the Capitol next weekend, and like, I can go to movies now, and I'm really excited.
That's good stuff. Yeah. You still got a long drive for the movies, though. So you mean
it's almost
like an overnight bag. Like you like it's not that far, I guess. Was it? You said it was like 45 minutes to
2 hours.
2 hours to a movie theater. Mm-hmm. Oh, you do need to pack a fucking overnight bag. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, next weekend we're gonna go as long as it's not like super cold. Like we could have gone yesterday, but I was waiting to get paid. So
that's the kind of trip that would make me literally save up all of my money, leave at 6 a.m., watch every movie I can that day, and just like do like a triple or quadruple feature at the fucking movie theater, and then sleep at a hotel.
The problem with
sweaty piggy hotel sex.
Yeah.
And then come back the next day.
The problem with if Ken did that and was at the theater all day, I think you would have to roll her out of the theater because she would eat so much popcorn that it would be like she would look like a cartoon character you had to roll out of the theater. And if you're not watching the video, Ken is grinning ear to ear because it's completely true. She would eat so much popcorn she would become a cartoon character.
I love popcorn. popcorn.
Popcorn is fucking tasty.
I'm whatever with popcorn. I have not ordered movie popcorn ever. Like, it's never been my thing.
I can't watch a movie without me eating in the movie theater without eating popcorn. I've only done it a couple of times and I hated it every time. And the movie was fine. I just fucking hated the movie afterwards.
Oh, that's why you hate Terminator 2. Oh, okay.
That's why I hate Terminator 2 because I wasn't able to get popcorn. Actually, yeah. Fuck that kid, man. I can't stand that kid.
I know, we know.
Best
you love
scene in cinematic history, Terminator Dark Fate opening sequence.
You love Edward Furlong.
T-800
you know.
plugs the fuck out of John Connor. And it's the most beautiful thing.
The movie was so great that it single-handedly killed the Terminator franchise.
No, Terminator Dark Fate is great. And they got good reviews by audiences and critics to back
it killed the Terminator franchise, Brian.
No, Rod,
it
you
did.
Don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Once again, yet again, in this podcast, Rod with his wild takes. I'm pulling up Terminator Dark Fate's fucking.
Okay, what was the last Terminator movie, Brian?
Terminator Dark Fate, 2019. So we're only talking 5 years ago. We're talking a 70% by Rotten Tomatoes. So the critics loved it. The audience, 82% fucking loved it. You know what killed it? COVID. People weren't going to the fucking movie.
2019 was before COVID, my friend.
2019 was right in the middle of COVID.
No, COVID started 2020, Brian. Brian is so...
2020.
Yeah, Brian, you are losing your goddamn
mind. Brian doesn't know what he's talking about. He can't remember fucking when shit happens. Dude, Terminator Dark Fate is fucking good.
It killed the Terminator franchise, but okay, I'll take your word on it.
It's a great, and once again, a movie he's talking shit on that he's never seen. Again,
I was doing that yesterday. I was talking shit about the Jim Carrey How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I've never seen that either, but I would probably join you.
Did you say How the Grinch Sold Christmas?
No, stole Christmas.
Oh.
I said
stoled.
Oh, you know,
stoled and stolt are not words.
Stole.
That
God
Christmas.
damn it!
That's some Midwest talk right there. If I ever heard any, the only thing that was missing at the beginning of that was
I call my Coca-Cola a soda pop, and then you guys can completely laugh at me because Midwest is fuck.
And if you add the in front of something that doesn't need the, like as in, for instance, how that Grinch stole the Christmas. I'm gonna get attacked.
I almost like Brian is from that area.
Brian is sitting right in the middle of that area.
Yeah.
That's how all his neighbors talk.
Man, you just know that, like, it feels like I'm in the middle of like of a Rocky fight. Like I've been being punched in the face for the last 27 minutes, and I'm just like,
I'm sorry.
No, it's just.
Were you sleeping like on your face or something?
I mean, I always sleep on my face, but
you're
fuck,
a face down sleeper.
No, I'm a side sleeper, but yeah. But you lay on one side of your face. You know what I mean?
You do.
And I more meant like I'm like groggy. That's what the punches to the face led to me being groggy. Oh shit. Okay, before we go dive into Ken's movie, wait for their instructions. What you guys been watching? Anything else?
I do have to point out something really quick. Because you just piqued my interest. Apparently the movie theater in the capital that I can actually see is closed Mondays, and they just close like every other week. Like they're open on like the 10th, and then it goes from the 12th to the 19th. Like anyway, sorry.
So Ken's not watching movies next weekend.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Damn.
God, Canada, man.
Right when she buys that car.
Yeah. Have you guys been watching anything else though?
I've been reading a lot, and then watching Critical Role.
More horny fairies.
They're not. It's not that smutty, but yeah, it's the Tower of Glass series. So
what was
I'm on book like 6, but then I have to go back and read book 1. and there's like 8 or 9 books, so
Man, then you had another horny book reading the other day of like the after the turkey one, and I forget what it was, and I'm just like,
the
I
praying mantis one.
yes, that was the praying mantis one, and I'm just like,
Hold on, we should while you guys discuss stuff, let me pull up both of these and
yeah,
read the
yeah.
synopsises for these.
Ryan,
But go ahead.
have you been watching anything?
Um, yeah. Well, I watched wrestling,
Yeah,
and enjoyed. And I've been enjoying what WWE's got going on right now.
I started
I really
watching
like.
the Survivor series, or it was Survivor Series, right?
Yeah,
This last week,
Survivor Series War Games. That
and
was it was the night of my show, so I didn't watch it live. I watched a few clips live, but I did the
yeah,
replay, and it was really good. I thought War Games was really good.
I got
So I've
through
been
half.
watching the aftermath of that.
I watched the first match, and then, or was watching the first match, and then I left, and I didn't ever go back to it.
That's fair.
But
I mean, that's a lot of
did you?
people's response to wrestling.
No, it wasn't even that. It was just it was had things to do. You guys watched Skeleton Crew yet? Goonies meets Star Wars.
No, I've not. But I saw that is that Jude Law is in it.
Yes, Jude Law
Yeah,
is in it.
so
Yes,
I'm definitely gonna check it out because I like Jude Law. He's
it
I
is
like
very.
Jude Law too.
Yeah, he's like the adult with the Goonies characters who like, and I don't know, guys, if like either one of you like will agree with me or not, or if I'm just fucking insane. The little kid who's the lead on the show looks like Eric Andre. Like as a kid, he looks like a little Eric Andre, and every time I see him, I'm just like, now he's got. I just see the let me into the White House meme where he's like shaking the White House fence. But yeah, that's all I can think of. So, um,
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
I'm definitely interested in checking that out though.
It's good. I like it so far.
Okay.
It's cool having that kind of wonder feeling, like like
Yeah.
that from that kid's perspective, of like the whole Star Wars galaxy. Because I don't know, it's very much. I don't know. Star Wars is like that point where like I think the non Jedi stuff is more entertaining than the Jedi stuff most of the time. But
I don't think I disagree with you.
I
yeah,
Um,
agree. I agree with
yeah.
that.
yeah,
So
I think I agree. The because I watched some of the Acolyte,
yep.
and it didn't hold my interest.
I see. I
I
liked a
wanted
lot
it
of. I liked a lot of
to.
that show, but I liked the hot Asian guy when he was not running around with his clothes off most of the time. But like, but he was like the Sith stuff was again. It goes with my thing. Like it's when it's non Jedi stuff, it's more exciting than like when it's the
Yeah.
Jedi stuff. And yeah, I don't know that and. Star Wars needs to stop. They have been doing this thing for 30 years now, where they cram Darth Vader into whatever they can, and
Hmm.
it drives me crazy. Like that, those Star Wars games, Ken, the
Mhm.
Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. Like the last one was like you just have this random boss battle with Darth Vader in the middle of it, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I stop, leave the fucker dead.
I
He
need
had
to
lost
finish
the
the
high
first
ground, and
one. I need to
what?
finish the first one so I can move on to the second one because I know you
Yeah,
beat
they're
both of those,
actually
right,
really
Rob?
good. I liked
Yeah,
the first one better.
I beat them both, but dude,
Yeah, I
playing
beat
that
them both.
second one on the hardest difficulty, I faced the
Yeah,
frog
I
boss.
remember jumping on stream
Yeah,
and watching you just getting fucking destroyed
yeah,
by it wasn't the tauntaun, it was
the frog.
That damn frog. He
no,
was
it
stuck
wasn't
on
the
that
frog.
frog for like a month.
No, it
It
was a
was when you
week.
were fighting
Oh,
The Rancor.
the Rancor. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the
that took
Rancor.
that was a day and a half or 2 days. The
Yeah,
fucking
it was
frog took like a
hilarious.
week. That goddamn it. So, did you find what you were looking for, Ken?
I did. I have two beautiful smut book synopsis. We'll start with one
Okay.
that's a little bit more mild than the other.
Mm.
This one is called Basted. It's by Abby Hunter. A spicy time in the kitchen can include more than just seasonings. Thanksgiving is meant to be a joyous time of year, but when I catch my boyfriend cheating, it's anything but. After watching that scumbag leave the restaurant with his side piece, I find comfort where I always do, with a hot, meaty meal. And then I'm meeting Master Baster and his two brothers, Pip and Jet, three turkey basters completely devoted to my pleasure. What more could a heartbroken girl ask for on Thanksgiving?
That
It is a
Wow.
is
paranormal romance with a curvy FMC who finds love wherever she wants and a sentient turkey basters who won't quit until their new woman is bred.
What is FMC?
Female main character.
Okay. Okay. And what's
Then,
the praying mantis one?
for your pleasure, a whole new species of sexy is mating with the mantis. Let's be honest with ourselves. Who hasn't found a praying mantis sexy at some point in their lives? For the dedicated and horny insectologist, Dr. Liberty Penningforthly, it's a daily occurrence.
Wow, that's a
In fact,
name.
her mantis infatuation is so strong it's starting to interfere with her sex life. Now, Dr. Penningforthly can't reach orgasm unless her partner wears a praying mantis mask, but even that's starting to not work. So, when the enlargement machine is brought into the lab, suddenly Dr. Penningforthly has a stroke of inspiration. What if she enlarged a praying mantis? If she could, then perhaps she'd finally be able to have that incredible orgasm she's always dreamed of. That is, unless something went horribly wrong, yet horribly sexy. From the author of Kissing the Coronavirus comes a brand new species of sexiness. Spoiler, she gets shrunk down to the size of a praying mantis. She has sex with a praying mantis, bites his head off, and then is eventually moved into a praying mantis thing that's just male praying mantises and is just fucking praying mantises the whole time. Have I read either of these? No, but I've watched enough TikTok things
I
to know what they're about.
I
Good stuff, man. I tell you.
There's also one
Just
about
when I
a
thought no one
door.
could rival Dickens.
I know they need a Pulitzer Prize award, especially
Yeah.
the mating with Manus, the grammar and the just the punctuation alone on its description is phenomenal. But there's also one about a girl that falls in love with a door. There's like a whole silverware set with a spoon, a fork, and a knife. Yeah.
It's
okay.
fantastic. I love it.
Okay.
So when everybody makes fun of fairy smut, I want them to know that these exist.
It could be it could be
It
far
could be
worse.
worse.
Okay. Let us talk about await further instructions now, which is from 2018, I think. 2018.
Yes.
2018. I didn't realize this movie was very British, and this movie is very British. Including Filch from the Harry Potter movies being a racist old grandpa saying really horrible things. God, I thought that like this movie made me go, oh, so like having racist relatives sitting at a family dinner with you isn't like a U.S. only thing. Like this happens all over the world. And yeah, so can you have
Further instructions is a family's Christmas. A family's Christmas takes a strange turn when they awaken to find themselves trapped inside and begin receiving mysterious instructions through the television.
I think that this movie does a lot with it feels like a very small budget. Like
Yeah, it was very low budget. We couldn't find Brian and I both looked. We couldn't find an exact budget, but it is listed as a small budget.
it's got to be because I
couldn't
mean,
imagine it being
yeah.
much because it essentially takes place in one spot. You know, kind of.
Yeah, it has the scene where they drive into the driveway or like into the onto the street or whatever, and then you could just put green screens over all the doors and stuff like that, and you have like what you need basically. And I enjoyed it. This movie was very like stressful, man. This movie was like it was like how long was like it was barely 90 minutes long, right?
It was 1 hour and 31 minutes with credits.
Yeah. So like it isn't extra long or anything like that, but man, they get you going, and as soon as shit, man, as soon as you get into the house, they're kind of like the racist shit starts happening, so you're on edge because you're like, oh, these people suck, and then
Shitty characters.
Yeah. And then you're the alien invasion. I guess it's an alien invasion. Not that it ever like clarifies or like what exactly it is, but it's an AI sentient metal camera metal thinger majigger attack happens. Like everyone gets even worse.
Man, You just nailing it.
Rod and I now officially write press speeches for
Good stuff.
high-powered officials.
Yep, we do. I can barely put sentences together, so that means elect me to higher office and whatnot. And Ken, I have to ask. So you were getting very worked up about this before we started, so we might as well do it now before we forget. You had you were going off about people's reviews, and the one that I
Oh
was
my
laughing
god.
at before we started was someone was very upset that this kid hadn't been home for 3 years, and he knew where his parents kept a hatchet, and was they were very upset about this, and that was why they gave it a negative review.
Yes, and I'm trying to find the exact one because I accidentally closed it. But in it, like basically what was said is that how this is like absolutely no way that. Oh wait, hold on. Do I have it pulled up? Oh shit. Oh shit, I lost it. Anyway, basically, dude's complaint was that the kid should not be able to this reviewer wrote a fucking novel and I'm really sad that I can't find it. But he says that is bullshit because oh, did I just find it? No. Anyway, one of his complaints was that it was unrealistic that this kid would know where his father kept his axe after not being home for 3 years. And as someone whose parents have lived in the same house since 1999, I know exactly where 90% of their stuff is,
Yep.
and I don't live there. And now granted, I did live there this past summer and I go home every now and then, but even before then, like when I was only popping around barely, like I could all that shit is in the same place. Like
Yep.
it's not like it grew legs and moved around and it's not like they go on a spring cleaning and just oh, we're going to move the axe over here now or oh, I think the
Yeah.
axe would serve better in this room of the house. Where wherever you store your axe is
I
probably the room that axe is going to be in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the thing, man. Like if you don't like a movie, okay. Like I could see this movie not being for everyone. It's not exactly. It's very like character motivated, like character driven, and very like small spaces. Not a lot happens, like because it's in this small house, right? It's very much like paranoia and like characters going turning on each other, that kind of stuff. I mean, this movie kind of reminds me of 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's not as good as 10 Cloverfield Lane, but like it's kind of got that same feel of like, people in these like tight spaces like going after each other and paranoia like hitting and everything like that. Um I will say though that the plot of this movie is very unique. I've never seen anything like this. It's I don't know about it. It's like, have either one of you guys seen a movie that kind of reminds you of this? Because I haven't. I mean, it's
I mean, there's definitely a few that are kind of like that. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but just
yeah,
blindly following stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah,
I like the my thing about this is I feel like the villain outside of the family members who are just following blindly,
yeah,
it's different. It's
yeah,
unique. It's not your standard gray dudes from outer space. It's not, the government necessarily chiming in and stepping in. And it does a really great job of it was interesting because I was very torn when I rewatched it last night because I was like, in some aspects, had they even if they removed the injections that they did, you could still in some ways go both ways with this when it came to people with COVID and vaccinations. Now, this was 2 years before COVID, so
yeah,
it definitely aged interestingly.
yeah,
But I mean, you could look at it both ways, right? Like for some people, they feel that people who got the vaccines were just blindly following what they were told.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other people who were blindly following what they were told, which was don't do it.
yeah,
And it's very interesting because it feels like in some ways it's a commentary on old people on social media just thinking that that's the be all end all.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I liked it. I did also find the axe comment finally, but this person had rated it a 1 out of 10. Um, The whole film is a complete joke. Anyone that enjoys this film needs to reevaluate their love and understanding of horror.
Says somebody who's an expert at nothing.
Yep.
I mean, you're
Where
out
did you
there.
find that review? Was that an IMDb review?
Yes.
IMDb. Yeah. I'm reading the Rotten Tomatoes ones.
But
they're
all of their reviews are ruins a decent remake, disappointing, uncomfortable, poor writing, dull.
This is a remake?
No. This is about other movies. Like all the other movies they're reviewing is they're all those reviews are like.
Oh, so it's just someone who they're complaining and bitching about everything. Like, because, dude, I don't know about you guys, but like, I very much like if I don't like something, I just try to forget about it. I don't go on the internet and rampage about it most of the time. I mean, there are things that I hold to my heart that I complain about way too much. You probably knows I hate Prometheus, but like I don't usually complain about Prometheus randomly, except on this podcast. But like it is. Like you just going in and like trying to like ruin things for and like making a movie's hard, man. And even if this movie is bad, and I don't think it's bad, I like this movie.
No,
like,
I think this movie's not bad.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Then just go and watch something else. Like, why are you going on the internet and bitching about it and moaning about it?
Because that's what sad, miserable people do, Rob.
That's what people
and
like.
They hang out on X. All right.
That's what
they don't hang out on Blue Skies. But
you still didn't make the Blue Sky account?
I need to do it. I've been very.
What are you, me?
I'm.
It took 5 years for me to update my schedule time in my panels. I did not notice, but 5 years.
I'm going.
The thing about this is like, you know, just like I mentioned that like the villain, whatever, is unique and different. I also loved the way that they portrayed everything to where it felt very stop motion. Somebody's bitching about that the special effects are the worst special effects since the Blob.
Also, the Blob has really good special effects.
Yeah,
so
like it's the people that want everything CGI and to look super realistic. That wasn't the point. This gave me when the wires were like starting to pull and everything was going crazy, it gave me Ash. What is the first one of Ash with
Evil Dead?
Hand Ash? What?
Army of Darkness?
No, the first one.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Thank you. It reminded me of the tree scene. Like as soon as it started happening, and yes, the characters do kind of fall flat. And like, holy fuck, his sister is such a cunt. But like, it's very, I think like it can 100% happen. Not the invasion, obviously. Side note though, one of the things that's really cool is their last name is Milgram. Which if you don't know about the Milgram experiment, it's really cool. It's a psychological experiment. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know what the Milgram experiment is.
It was a psychological experiment where basically they put a person in a room and they could they see the other person, Brian? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I'd have to look because I saw that when I was first reading about the movie, and then I did. It was a Stanford prison experiment, is where.
God, I hate the Stanford.
No, that's a different one.
Yeah.
So okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Milgram obedience experiment. Yeah.
Milgram is. The 3 individuals take part, the experimenter who's in charge, the teacher who was a volunteer for a single session. The teachers were led to believe that they were merely assessing, whereas they were the actual subjects of the experiment. The learner is an actor and confederate of the experimenter who pretended to be a volunteer. The subject and actor arrived in a session together. The experimenter told them that they were taking part in a scientific study of memory and learning. And basically, like, if the one person failed to memorize content, they would be punished. And it's to see how far you would go just blatantly listening to instructions, knowing that you were hurting someone else.
Yeah.
And it had like a very big, a really fucked up ratio, basically, of how it turned out.
It was the father in this film then. I mean, the father is will follow anything. And dude, like, I don't know about you guys, like, that just makes me think of like the most messed up scene in this movie to me is the him force like the daughter not wanting it, and then everyone's like peer pressuring the pregnant lady who's about to bust to have this thing, and it's just like, fuck, man. And because like I do get like when people were like, I don't know about like vaccines and whatever, like that are like fresh. Okay, I get it. Like they think there's not enough studies. I think vaccines are great, and everyone needs vaccines. But like, I get it when people are a little iffy when they first come out. But like, which is funny because it equates like Ken was talking about. This came out a couple years before COVID and all that shit. But it's like you don't even know what like the girlfriend of the main character is like. Yeah, these are used needles. So it's like, it's like, what the fuck? And like, and like, dude, it is just very, I mean, I think that the Milgram experiment thing, I think now that you talk about that, like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And also the Stanford fucking experiment is crazy.
I had read about that because I read about both of them at the same time because I was reading up on the movie, and that was pretty interesting as well.
There's a movie about that. I watched a movie about it where they like turned it into movie form. And if you don't know, it was basically some psychological experiment at Stanford in the 60s, I think. And they was like,
it took place in 71.
71. Okay. And it was like half the kids were like prisoners and half of them were like guards. Yeah. And like how like it went into like the guards started acting like real guards and the prisoners started acting like real prisoners, and it fucked these kids up, man. And it was a lot of I think someone got hurt at some point that like not
I'm sure
killed.
People did. Yeah, I'm sure they did.
But yeah, that's just wild. And it just shows you, man, it's like I wonder how much this movie is about like just listening to the government, because they kept talking about how the government has the TV channel, like, to do like emergency signals and shit like that. And I don't know. I mean, I took it was like an alien invasion, but like it could have been like some kind of science fiction, like computer lab, breakout or something like that. But it came across as kind of like an alien invasion to me. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I felt like it could have been, like I said, alien or something like that. Just different. Side note, two things. One, the Milgram experiment, people were paid $4 an hour, which in 1961, if I did the conversion right, it's now worth $42.23, which is wild.
Yep.
And then there was another thing, but I'll try to remember it and come back up with.
Did you look and see how much the Stanford kids made when they did that?
No.
They were paid $15 a day in 1971, which equates to about $113.
Yeah, I see that now. Amazing.
Yeah. Which is weird, because if you get jury duty in America now, you make $50 a day or something like that. Like it's like you don't even you get paid jack shit. Yeah. Yep. Also the whole time I was watching this, I kept looking at the kid, and I was like, the main character, I'm like, he just keeps reminding me of the kid from those spy movies. What were they called?
Spy Kids?
No, not Spy Kids. The one where it was like where Samuel L. Jackson was the bad guy, and he was like gonna blow people's heads up with the cell phones or something like that. God damn it! What the fuck were those movies called? I can't even think of. They made like 4 of them or 3 of them, and then you know what I'm talking about. You have any idea? Are you just? God damn it! God damn it!
The Kingsmen, brother.
There you go. You know, you were just letting me sit there and struggle. You asshole.
Just wanted to see struggle. I love it.
My brain was just like, nope, you ain't getting Kingsman out. What did they make? They made 3 of those, not 4.
2 or 3. Because they made a spin-off movie that was kind of like a prequel.
They made the first one and the sequel, and then they made a prequel. Yeah. That was like, that kid looks like the main character of those movies.
Taron Egerton.
Yeah. I was like, who he just reminds me of. Also, like I said, the guy from Filch from the Harry Potter movies is in this, plays the racist old grandpa. who was also the douchebag in Game of Thrones, who enabled the Red Wedding. So
No idea what you're talking about.
Oh,
We've talked about this. I've never seen one episode of Game of
the
Thrones.
Red Wedding was no spoilers.
it's just the most traumatic episode of TV of all time. Or up there. It's pretty up there.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
everybody says.
Yeah.
I tell them, I'm glad you like your dragon show. Which it's funny because I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones because like it's right up my alley. Like I love fantasy, I love dragon, I love all that shit. I love all that. I love every single one of those things. Never seen one. I've seen clips.
Brian,
Like
Brian
I know Pedro
loves,
Pascal was in that, and I know Pedro Pascal dies in it because he's a character with a penis in the show, and most of them die. That's what I've read anyway.
But I was waiting for Brian to say he loves Bad Dragon, but he didn't say that, and I'm sure he does. But
Bad Dragon, like dildos.
yeah, oh, yeah,
I've seen pictures.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was like, wait a second, who was he? But yeah, he plays a kick-ass character in
Yeah.
this. Okay.
Yeah, he plays a kick-ass character who gets a kick-ass killing too.
dude, yeah,
I think the mountain guy kills him, right?
yeah, the
His-
giant,
His death is rough.
I want to say he
Dude.
gets distracted by some pussy.
basically. Yeah, in the book, he's the character that fucks everyone and everyone loves. Like he just fucks. He's just like swinging his. He like fucks dudes and ladies, and he fucks everyone, and then he gets distracted and gets his head crushed. And it's one of those things where, like, if you ever got oh, I really dig this character in a Game of Thrones book.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
Everybody tells me don't get attached to characters.
Yeah. You don't want to get attached to characters in Game of Thrones because they die horrible, horrible, horrible deaths. Which is why I'm scared Tyrion's going to die. Not that George R.R. Martin's ever going to finish those books, but
I don't think he's going to.
never going to finish them.
No, I don't think he's going to.
So like I think this like you mean this movie being like a very like a social experiment turned into a horror movie, which isn't the first time. I mean, it's happened plenty of times. Like you have social experiments turned into horror movies. Things like I mean,
it's kind of I put this up there with movies like It Comes at Night,
yeah,
shit like that. It even has it even reminds me a little bit of Knock at the Cabin, kind of.
yeah.
So I like movies like this though. I like that make you question what you would do in these kinds of situations. The horror kind of writes itself.
Yeah.
In a way.
Dude, it's the thing where this is the movie where it's another movie where bad shit's happening, but the humans are still the monsters. It's not the bad thing that's happening around them that just like enabling it, right? It's kind of like a zombie movie where zombies are a side threat to like what humans are doing. And it's just like the thing where like, it's funny because you see so much of this movie. You see how the Filch treats the father, and you go, "Oh, that's why this dude is so fucked up." And then you see him just like he's learned to manipulate his family from his father being a douchebag. Like you see him manipulating the stupid daughter and the stupid her stupid husband. You see him manipulating his own wife. You see everyone like not like everyone falls into like conformist or not, like anti-conformist during these things happening. Like the main character and his girlfriend are the anti-conformist, and then you have like the racism aspects of like, because that's sort of the thing I've heard before. Like, I don't know. I mean, you got a lot of friends in England, right? Like, like that racism in there ends up being a lot of times it sounds like they have a lot of problem with Indians, which is this character is Indian, and they go more towards them as being like.
I think it's wherever there's a big influx of individuals.
Yeah.
So like I know that in certain areas in Canada, there's a lot of racism towards people from India and the Middle East and whatnot. Just in the U.S., there's a lot of racism against people from Mexico or. Sorry, I'm about to cough really loud. Yeah, I think it just depends on whoever has the biggest influx.
Yeah. I mean, if you look back at racism across the United States, we used to be racist against like Irish people, which is like, when they all came over after the Great Potato Famine and shit like that. It's just like, yeah, you're right. It's like And
The Great Potato Famine. I love the movie.
what,
Did they
Brian?
call it the Great? Did they add
I
Great?
think it's called the Great Potato Famine.
That
I think
sounds terrible.
is it. I mean, I could be like just making shit up like at the same time, and I'm looking at. God damn it! And I'm looking, and the podcast is just all over the place because I am definitely not tired. No, not at all.
It
I
was
can't
called
look
the
at.
Great Hunger.
Okay. I was trying to look at shit, dude, and that's like I've never done that during the podcast. Again, waking up during the middle of the streaming of this. Um, I don't know. It's just like you have this thing where like we fear outsiders it's the things that you don't you fear outsiders, right? And because go back to tribes and like so if you didn't know people, they could be dangerous and kill you, so you fear outsiders, right? And this sucks, man. It's like I think human beings as a whole are pretty similar, even like, but I mean, here we are 6 years after this movie was made, and the man elected president was bullshitting about or lying about people eating dogs and cats because of Facebook messages. Like it's
If you ever get a chance, there's a documentary on Netflix, and I'll have to pull up the name of it in a second. But it's all about how the first time that Trump got into office, it was so heavily fueled by 4chan and memes, and discusses like all the stuff that they did. And literally, the cats and dogs thing was basically the same shit that they had pulled that whole time.
yeah.
It's very, very insightful. I'll have to find it really fast.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It's like so much of like what it's like. I mean, the main things of this movie is like whether or not they wanted to follow the instructions to this TV that are telling them to do stuff, right? And then, but like the side things are like how it really comes across like this father mistreated his son so badly that he wanted nothing to do with his family. Which, as someone who doesn't talk to his family a lot, I get on a primal level, and but like, and then like the stuff like the racism and the stuff that like just this fear of outsiders is just like it's wild because then it's like it takes so little for these people to turn on each other, right? And just go into these things of like, yeah, we're gonna I dude like. I think like the biggest shock at some not early on, but like it was when the dad just punches his son in the face, and it's just like these people just turning on each other. It's like that's why the sister dies because the husband is going after the boyfriend or the brother because the sister told him to basically, and like then she gets knocked off the balcony and then dude why. I don't know, man. Why do movies want to show compound fractures? I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see bones sticking out of legs. Oh, fuck
The
that
movie on
noise.
Netflix, the documentary is called The Antisocial Network. I strongly recommend you check it out. It is very good.
So it dives into like how, dude, if you don't know that whole election, and the 2016 election, especially, and 2020, like, were the amount of stuff that, like, you just go, oh, okay. These places like Russia don't need to nuke us. They just come in and post things on Facebook and let, like, crazy people, like, go off. And then here we are, man. And it's, the depth of the like, how people exist so thoroughly with their head in the sands about so many things. Like if you talk about people like who are Googling on the election day, when did Joe Biden stop running? And if you don't know, then we're recording this in 2024. This was like 3 months before the election, he stopped running. And like, it's insane that like, this is like the people coming in and like making decisions that affect the rest of us. That don't even.
There were people surprised. There were people surprised when they went to go vote when they saw that Kamala was running for president.
Yep.
There were people that were like, "Oh, I didn't know Kamala was running for president," because they were surprised that Joe Biden wasn't on there.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Is there like did you find anything about this movie about like So like any cool back info or like backstory or any like facts about this? Because like you said, you guys looked for the budget. I assume that it was
Found the
probably
budget.
finding stuff about this movie was pretty hard, right?
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of like things that you find about the movie are just the widespread differences in reviews. But yeah, no, I mean, basically the two experiments were a big thing that played into
Hmm.
it. There weren't, excuse me, there weren't a lot of like weird trivias or anything.
Yeah.
Uh, like yeah, there's not a lot. My thing that cracks me up about a lot of the reviews, and Katz had mentioned it too, is like at the end when Ruby is born,
Yeah.
which I am curious to know how long a child can live or baby can be in utero post mother death and still be alive. But a lot of people are like, just bullshit. Babies don't know how to read.
When did it
Okay.
say the baby? I mean, the also there is a overcoming thing that we have this sci-fi robot overlord AI thing there that injected everyone with something that you don't know what it was, and then there was gas coming into the house that like made the mother's head explode, and
Hmm.
like you don't know what the fuck is happening. I mean, the injection made Filch puke up black tar. Like, I mean, it is like you don't know what like I'm not saying it's realistic, but none of this movie is realistic outside of the how these. If that's your problem in this movie, that's not what it is. That stuff is used to set up these human interactions in like these human situations, like we're talking about with these experiments, right? The the robot overlord is a side note to what is really happening. Again, like I said, the bad guy in this movie isn't the robot overlord. The bad guy in this movie is the other humans and how they treat each other when they get into a situation like this.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's I don't know, man. I think people miss the point. I think people also focus and like fixate on points they don't need to fixate on, and like I don't know, man. I thought this movie was good. I don't think this is a like I'm gonna watch this yearly on fucking Christmas thing, but like, how long has it been since you watched this?
I think I watched it when it came out.
So yeah, it's like
So
6 years.
it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was worth a watch. I mean, again, and like you said, this hits the right spot. It's like 91 minutes, so it
Hmm.
just hits that thing, and like it it doesn't waste much time going into it, like because you start with the racist family bullshit almost immediately, and you start going, oh, this is why this kid hasn't come back in a while, and
Right.
I do, I don't know about either one of you guys. Were either one of you guys like, why did you bring your Indian girlfriend into this house with these racists? Because he knew his family's racist.
She was pushing for that, and I think it was her way of being like, I don't ever want them to claim that I'm the reason you're being kept away, but also at the same time, like, hey, like, let's try to mend some fences and like, because she was the one. He was like, I don't think this is a good idea, and she's like, no, I really think we should do this. So I think it was her being trying to be like the bigger
Pushy. No,
person.
no, no, yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Are you, Brian? You're seeing that pussy will make us men do wild things.
No, I said pushy, by the
I
way,
thought you
not
said
pussy.
pussy. It sounded
No,
like you
I
said
didn't
pussy.
scream pussy out of nowhere. I was
Pussy,
jokingly saying that
pussy.
she was being pushy and she wanted to. Uh, but yeah, I think you're right, Ken. I think she was like she didn't want them thinking that she was the reason that he wasn't coming back and she was a part of the reason because
Yeah,
he knows his family's fucking dog shit and doesn't really want to fucking hang out with them. And I don't blame him. My
yeah,
only complaint would be about in regards to this movie would be that even though while there were obviously shitbag characters in the movie because that's what his whole family essentially is, um, I found them to be a little boring as as far as like our good characters.
yeah,
Kind of felt that they were a little boring, a little bland, maybe.
yeah.
But
Well,
that's
dude,
like honestly my only real minor complaint with the movie. I
dude,
actually really enjoyed this a lot, and I thought this was cool.
I would have been very like. It seemed he gave up like after they locked his girlfriend up when they told him to isolate. Like he's like, we'll do that and that. Like, and the dad's like, they're like, oh, one of you is a spy. You get him or whatever. And it's like dad's like, oh, I get to box cutter my own son. Yes, it's just like,
I have a fucked up story about that.
okay, go.
The box cutter scene. I don't horror movies never fuck with me. Nothing about this movie was scary to me. Nothing about it was twisted, like whatever. But for some reason, that box cutter scene, like the way that he slides it out, it's very well done.
Yeah,
And last night I woke up screaming and crying because I had a dream that somebody was slitting my wrist with a box cutter. So obviously they did something right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
Wow.
those. I mean, box cutters are pretty scary. I mean, if you don't know, 9/11 happened with box cutters. Box cutters are
Right.
like are very much like scary thing and like wrist things. Ugh, I hate wrist things. But like, yeah, that's the dad was just so angry. He was like so like, oh, fucking whack job, man. Like and you go. It's because of the father, right? Like the father was all kinds of fucked up, and he abused that dad, and then that dad was like abused everyone else. It's just like, dude, what was it like? Be your best on the worst day or whatever. I'm like, I wanted to punch that dude in the face. I was like, oh, I want to punch you right in the face. Do your best at me punching you in the face, motherfucker. But yeah, I no, I dude,
Man.
like this is the kind of movie that like one can great pick for this time of year because it is like when we're stuck in houses with family because it's shitty outside, and then it's like, and then you have to deal with it, and you have to deal with the. I mean, you've had it in your fucking your stream and whatever. This is like the time of year where people are like, oh yeah, like especially now they're like Trump won, yeah, and shit like that, and like just like it's just like people being shitty and not like I don't know. Family can be the worst and family could be the best, but family could also be the worst. So you get a lot of that stuff, and it's just like it's funny this came out a couple years before COVID because it feels so relevant when they're locked inside.
Yeah, it is wild.
Dude, that I still think the silliest scene in this whole movie is when the husband is like sticking his hand into the metal vagina, like it, and like gets his fingers bit off. And I'm like, you idiot! What were you expecting was gonna happen? What did you think was gonna happen? You idiot! You idiot! I'm just sounding like Ren and Stimpy now. But I thought this is like little horror movies that do a lot with like a little budget.
Yeah. Thanks for
It's
mentioning that.
yeah, it's just pretty entertaining, and like I thought they did a lot with this, and I thought they did a good job. Like the
I like
imagery,
that it's not that typical Christmas shove in your face of like, oh, Santa and he's bad, or
yeah,
oh, Krampus, because I do love Krampus. And we missed the Krampus parades. That was December 5th. Next year, if I get to go to Austria, I'm going at that time of the year specifically to go to the Krampus parades.
I didn't
But
Yeah.
know this was a thing.
oh God, you got to look it up. The Krampus parades, they happen in Austria and Germany. They've started doing some in the United States, but it's always December 5th.
I think they have Krampus
Wow.
parades by me somewhere, but I'm not sure.
San Antonio hosted first ever Krampus parade 2 days ago.
Man,
That's awesome.
dude,
I'm
what was
jealous.
I'm gonna
My
send
sister
you.
lives down in San Antonio. Fuck.
I got a Krampus meme to send you after the stream, after our recording, Ken, and it made me giggle. Dude, did either one of you? I tried to start watching the Dear Santa movie. Oh,
I
that
watched
was
it.
Dear Santa?
The
Yeah, I
Satan
watched it
Jack Black
with
plays
Jack Black.
Satan.
Yeah.
I got like
Oh.
I got a half an hour in, and it like Plex stopped working, and I was like, this doesn't seem like it's very good, and I didn't go back to it.
It's not great by any means. It
Yeah.
does have some funny moments in it,
Yeah.
but
I like
Dude,
Jack Black. I mean,
it's not
but
awful. It's not
Yeah.
a dog turd. It's not boring, which is
Yeah.
important. There's some pretty funny stuff in it, but
and then just the kid. From the half an hour I watched, just the kids writing specifically was real bad. Like, and that was the painful part of it. Like the kids writing was just like I was like, oh my god, his dialogue is bad. but
Yeah, it's not a
uh,
masterpiece by any means, but
it's a
it's fine.
yeah. Uh well, can everyone else? I think, like I said, this movie is worth a watch, and definitely like dude, I was gonna say one more thing. I want to talk about like the imagery for this movie, which I don't know if it's like. Do you think? Okay, do you guys think the poster for this movie is spoilery?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
because
it's a cool shot.
yeah. Well, dude, so
Yeah.
at the very end of this movie, the dad gets killed, and then the robot AI thing takes him over and like puts like cables in his mouth, and then it like is like using him like a human meat puppet, and then that's like all the fucking posters, and it's just like that's another thing, man. Like you could have done something with like just robot like the chords without being like you're ruining the end of
I
your movie.
literally think the movie poster should have been a shot of the TV with the
Yeah.
text saying "Await for the restaurant."
Yes.
That literally should have been the fucking
Yeah.
movie poster. Like, I don't
Dude,
know why they.
you
Don't get me wrong; it's a cool fucking shot and it's a cool image, but it is spoilery. And yeah,
It's
I can't.
a giant
I don't
spoiler.
like it when people when companies and production companies and they do that shit too. I can't stand that shit.
You don't put stuff from the final scenes in movies and trailers. You don't put stuff from the final scenes in the fucking on the poster. You
Anything
don't.
that happens in the final act of the film should not be
Yeah.
on a trailer or a poster or anything.
I don't think-
Anything to do with the final act.
Yeah, I don't think you should do anything outside of the first act. To be honest, like anything.
I
Like
would
I
disagree.
think
I would disagree.
like maybe if you have action sequences in like a Marvel movie in the second act, okay. But like even I don't know. Like that was the other thing because I looked over at the trailer, the poster for the movie, and I'm like, okay, this kind of like, and that's not the movie maker's fault. That's why I'm not complaining about the movie with that. It's the people fucking
production
promoting it.
company
So
or
fuck,
promotions
don't
department
do
or
that,
whatever.
guys. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. We're going in and we're gonna watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Ken,
Fuck
that means
yeah.
Ken, that means you have to watch the first one.
It's
because-
fucking garbage day, kids.
Ken,
Please drop it in our chat so I don't forget.
I
okay.
can do that.
Right now. And I'm telling you, Ken, try to watch them back to back because you will have a brain aneurysm. Because I'm not even kidding you. 45 minutes of the second one is just clips from the first one.
Okay.
45 minutes of, I think the second one's only an hour and 15 minutes. It is like a half an hour of the movie isn't clips from the first one. And Josh and I talked about the first one years ago in the podcast. It was like our first Christmas, I think. And the first one's entertaining. It's not a great movie. It's entertaining. It has one of the most twisted openers of like any horror movie ever. Like, I mean, I don't know. Brian, you agree that opener is pretty twisted?
Sorry, I got mildly distracted by my dog.
Yeah. I was saying how twisted the opener is for Silent Night, Deadly Night, Brian.
Do I think it's super, super twisted? Yeah.
Yeah. You it took you a second. You're like, oh yeah, okay, never mind.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I had to pick up where you were going.
Yeah. And so,
it is.
but and it explains why the character does what he does. But I think Ken's in for a treat. So yeah, watch the first one, Ken, and then like a couple of days later, you'll watch the second one, and you'll be like, oh, it is the most money grab sequel of all. One of the most money grab sequels of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't. God, I can't. We can watch it together. I love this movie.
I mean, you could watch stuff on like Plex together at the same time. I don't know how to do it very well, or we could watch it on Discord if we wanted to. I don't know. We could figure that out. Okay, so go to murdermoose.com. Buy some merchandise or whatever, and go to our YouTube and subscribe there. And Ken, your stuff. Where's all your stuff, Ken?
Continue.com, but you can find me at twitch.tv/continue, KINTINUE. I'm live every day except for Saturday. I do take the occasional Friday off. And I am currently playing through Factorio for the first time. I definitely prefer Satisfactory, but Factorio has been pretty fun. So, yeah.
Ken, you have you went into your Factorio Satisfactory hole like before Silent Hill 2 even came out. and I want you to play Silent Hill 2. I know you probably won't before the end of the year because Factorio
Oh
is
no, not
probably.
by the end of the year. It's already December 8th.
I know you could beat Silent Hill 2 in like 3 or 4 days, but that would require you to not play Factorio for 3 or 4 days, which
Exactly.
which is ain't gonna happen. I really like that game, and I like. Ken used to be
I
a
might
horror
pick
streamer.
up
Now she's
Silent
just
Hill.
she builds stuff streamer. But
This used to be a variety stream, man.
Brian, we're gonna make you watch. What is the current episode out, and what's
Current
next week?
episode out is Christmas Horror Story.
Yeah.
And soon Christmas Bloody Christmas drops. But once again, we're still on break.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So Brian forgets. It's okay. I understand that.
No, our next one coming up, but we already filmed it. We made Warren watch Terror Train because
that movie is bad, dude.
Yeah, we made him watch that. I won't tell you guys what he thought of it or anything like that, but the reason we made him watch that is because like New Year's related, you know.
Yeah.
So,
dude, that was part of the one of those stinkers when Jamie Lee Curtis was earning the Scream Queen thing because it was that and Prom Night. Ugh.
Road
She did
games. She did some pretty bad fucking horror movies. Like,
I mean, she did some good ones. Obviously, Halloween, but she also did
Halloween,
The Fog.
The Fog. Yeah.
The Fog is great. Yeah. So.
Fog is a fucking masterpiece.
So go subscribe to We're Gonna Make You Watch. And I continue to stream Metaphor. I have like 45 hours in that game, and it keeps going.
Did you already play Silent Night or Silent Hill 2? I mean,
yeah, I already played through Silent Hill 2. I had a really good time. Yeah, I had a good time in that game. I thought it was.
Did you put it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's all on YouTube now, or it's going on YouTube.
I'll probably watch
no, I really enjoyed it. I think that the combat, there was a lot of combat in it, but besides that, it was pretty good. So, okay, next week we return and we talk about It's Garbage Day. Ken, you'll finally understand. You'll finally understand what It's Garbage Day means because
I'm glad.
Garbage Day.
Garbage Day. The choices. The choices. Okay. Love you guys.
There were some choices made, weren't there?
Yep. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.